Hola a todos. Learning to speak Spanish can be a bit frustrating. A lot of times when beginners go to speak, they freeze up like a deer in headlights. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to have meaningful conversations with native speakers using easy Spanish structures so that you don't have to freeze up like that. Look at this conversation and let's see what you can pick out from it. And if you're new here, by the way, I'm Profe Miguel with Life Method Spanish. I help busy adults learn to speak Spanish by incorporating it into their daily life without having to chase it all over the internet with time you don't have. Anyway, so here it is. Let's get into it and look at the conversation. Mira, todos tienen una dieta diferente, pero por lo general los americanos comen mucho pollo, verduras y frutas. Es importante comer comida fresca y no recomiendo comer mucha comida rápida. Por ejemplo, yo como yogurt con frutas de desayuno, ensalada con pollo o carne de almuerzo y carne o pescado con vegetales de cena. Es muy simple mi dieta. So, first thing I want to talk about is some of these crutches or sentence starters that we use to kind of buy us some time to produce the sentence that we're about to say. Native speakers do this, why shouldn't you? You probably know the structures, you probably know the vocabulary, and if you don't, comment function and I'll send you my free gift, the Functional Guide to Daily Spanish Blueprint, and I'll get that over to you. Anyway, let's look at some of these starters. We had mira. Mira is a great one. Mira, it just gives you time. It's like look, but it could kind of is a stalling word, right? It's a crutch. Pero, but, so you're kind of like contrasting an idea. So, todos tienen una dieta diferente, pause, pero, por lo general, another one that you can use in general, right? Buys you more time to say, los americanos comen mucho pollo, or whatever you were going to frame in that next sentence. Por ejemplo is another one, right? Por ejemplo, yo como yogurt, right? So I use por ejemplo. Yeah, not only does it sound better, but it gives you time to think about that next sentence. That's going to be kind of a long sentence there. So, por ejemplo is a great way to kind of stall. Some other common ones are like pues, entonces, a ver, and they're like well or right? They take the place of those in English. So those are some great sentence starters that you can use, right? The next group of expressions here are really easy plug and play expressions with infinitive verbs. If you want to learn more about these, comment infinitive and I'll send you the guide to infinitive verbs so that you can have more expressions to work with. They're really easy. So, es importante, te recomiendo, es muy simple, plus a verb. They're in this. So let's take a look. First is comen, right? So por lo general, los americanos comen mucho pollo. So, comen requires me to conjugate in present tense. One thing I could do is say, les gusta comer. I could say, a los americanos les gusta comer. That's an expression I could use all the time when I'm practicing my Spanish, so that when it's time to speak, it just flows right out instead of being like, oh, what's the ellos form of comer? Oh, comen. All right, hold on one second. Let me conjugate my verb, and then I'll get back to talking. You can't do that, right? So, knowing these expressions can help it flow a little bit better, right? Es importante plus an infinitive verb is another great one. And here I said es importante comer comida fresca. Change the nature of the conversation or the topic, throw in different verbs, you're still using the same expression. You can flow with these. No recomiendo comer. Now this could be yo recomiendo comer, or I could put te in front of it to be like I recommend to you. In this case, I really don't have to because I'm making a general recommendation not to eat fast food. So no recomiendo comer. But again, a great expression to work with when you're practicing your Spanish. Yo como, I bolded here as well because I could just say me gusta comer. It might be easier. It's more words to say, but it's less thinking about grammar. Okay? And then es muy simple is another great expression. It's just an impersonal expression. There's no subject. In general, it's simple, right? Es muy simple mi dieta. Es muy simple perder peso, right? It's simple to lose weight. Whatever it is. Es muy simple aprender español. It's simple to learn Spanish, right? A great expression that you can use. So think about using more expressions with infinitives because they're literally a gold mine for us that Spanish isn't our first language, okay? So let's look at the next thing. Acha replies. Acha says, wait, no voy a comer ensalada de almuerzo, amigo. Right? And I go right back into using simple expressions with infinitives. No es necesario comer ensalada todos los días. Because he told me, I'm not going to eat salad for lunch every day, man. So it's like, well, it's not necessary to. Pero es bueno comer comida natural, right? So I had a reaction, a rebuttal, right? But then the next thing I did was I made questions. I said, ¿Qué comes tú? What do you eat? ¿Cómo describes la dieta mexicana? Because we were kind of comparing the Mexican traditional diet and the American diet. And, I mean, that could go, you could talk all day about that, right? Because everybody has a different diet, like I said. But I asked questions to get him to speak so that we had things to talk about, right? I also asked, ¿comen mucha tortilla de verdad? I really asked him this, right? Or es un mito? Is it a myth? So this conversation happened because we were at a barbecue and him and his wife are about to have a baby. And since I have, two babies, and he asked me, for some advice, right? Because they're getting ready to, kind of take care of themselves for the baby. So anyway, back to business here. I said, is it a myth? Do you guys really eat a lot of tortilla? Do you eat, like, what do you eat in the morning, right? So some other types of questions that I could ask, not necessarily in this conversation, but yeah, they could apply, right? ¿Qué haces tú type questions? Like, what do you do type questions? So I could be like, ¿Qué haces tú por la mañana antes del trabajo? What do you do in the morning before work, right? ¿Qué haces tú los fines de semana? What do you do on the weekends? Or, ¿qué prefieres? So I could be like, ¿Qué prefieres comer de almuerzo? What do you prefer to eat for lunch then? All right. And then another question I could say, when I asked him, ¿come mucha tortilla? Right? Requires some verb conjugation. So I could say, ¿es típico comer mucha tortilla en México? Right? Or es común or es normal comer mucha tortilla en México? So these are some types of questions that you can ask, and I bet you know more, right? But use some kind of stalling word, some kind of crutch word, right? Like pues or entonces or es típico comer mucha tortilla in Mexico, right? And it gives your brain that extra second it needs to process language. So now what you need to do is practice this stuff, right? Because when you go to speak and you haven't actually spoken this to yourself or in any kind of practice situation, you're gonna stall, right? So a simple exercise that I recommend you do is pick one of the contexts there. Cuando vas a la playa, when you go to the beach, en tu tiempo libre, por la noche, and pretend that you're having a conversation with somebody about, how you do this or what you recommend they do when they go to the beach, or, asking them about their free time and what you do in your free time, right? And just pretend you're having that conversation, set a timer for 2 minutes, and run through some of these expressions. If you trip on your words or if you get lost, just start over again. It's only 2 minutes, and then you can move on to a different context or try another practice activity when you're on your lunch break, or even if you're driving to work, you could maybe, I don't recommend you're looking at a video or anything like that, but maybe have some sticky note or something like that on the steering wheel, and every once in a while you glance down at it and practice making sentences. If you don't do these kinds of things, then you're just passively taking in information via YouTube videos or whatever it is, and it might not go too far. So anyway, if you thought this video was helpful, give a like, follow the channel. If there's something you want to work on, hit me in the comments. And again, you could always comment function or infinitive for those free guides, and I'll get them over to you. And well, that's all I got. So hasta luego.